Welcome to Viewmaster Travels, where we visit locations from vintage Viewmaster reels, and we're going to try and recreate the pictures from them, and maybe try to learn a little bit about that place's history along the way. Today we're looking at reel number 201, Santa Catalina Island. There's no copyright date on this reel, but I think the pictures were taken in 1948. The Viewmaster reel has 7 pictures on it that were taken at different locations all around Catalina Island, so our goal was to figure out where each one was taken from and reproduce that picture. Objective number 1, get to the island. The island is almost 30 miles off the coast of Southern California. To get there, we took a ferry from Long Beach, which takes over an hour before we arrived in the small town of Avalon. Let's take a look at the first Viewmaster picture on the reel. This is the city of Avalon. And here's what things look like today. This image was easy to find because it's clearly an image of the bay from the southeast side. So we rented a golf cart and drove down Pebbly Beach Road, up Mount Ada to an old lookout point we found right below the Wrigley Mansion to get this really great view. Now here's the 2 images compared, the vintage one and our current one. One obvious landmark that's still there today is this distinctive house. This is Holly Hill House. Turns out this is one of Avalon's oldest structures that still stands. While we were walking around downtown, we even found this picture in a store window that shows Avalon from when it was called Tent City in the late 1880s, and this house is already there in the background. The house was built in 1890 by civil engineer Peter Gano. He originally built Catalina's water system, and when he finished the house, he named it Lookout Cottage. When he finished building it, he asked the woman he loved to move into it with him, but she refused since she didn't want to live on an island, so he lived there alone. Oh well. Next up in the comparison is this pier. This is the pleasure pier that's still there today. But beyond that pier, there used to be another one. That one's not there today. So we'd like to figure out what that one was. Maybe the next picture on the Viewmaster reel will help with that. Next up on the Viewmaster reel, Avalon Bay from the Chimes Tower. This view is really similar to the first one, but from the other side of the bay, and the Chimes Tower is a known landmark that's still there, so we just drove our golf cart up the mountain to the Chimes Tower, and this is the view from the road. When you compare the Viewmaster picture to today, you can clearly see a ship at the pier that's now missing. That pier would have been here. To help with our investigation, I got a brochure from 1952 from eBay. This is called Catalina Welcomes You. It mainly shows a list of all the things you can do on the island, but on the back is a map of the island from the time. Over here is the Chimes Tower, and you can see in the bay the missing pier, the steamer terminal. This is where the steamer ships would have arrived, bringing tourists from the mainland. In our hotel, on the wall, we found this large print of an old postcard showing the steamer ships at the old terminal. Back in the day, you'd arrive at Avalon right downtown. The ferry now docks on a new pier on the far side of the harbor instead. The Chimes Tower itself was built by William Wrigley Jr. in 1925 to house a set of Westminster chimes he'd purchased. They chime every 15 minutes and can be heard all across the bay. Next picture on our Viewmaster reel, the islanders meeting the steamer. When we arrived on the island from the ferry, this was the first picture we tried to reproduce. But it was really tricky because the steamer terminal is no longer there. You could tell from the map that the main street led straight to the terminal, so that helped us find where this was taken. And luckily, one famous landmark is still there, and that's the Wrigley Fountain. So that helped us pinpoint exactly where the picture was. This fountain was originally constructed by Otis Shepherd in 1934 as part of the oceanfront promenade, and it's covered in famous local tile. These tiles are made from local clay that's very distinctive. The other landmark still visible that helped us find this location is the casino. It's not really a gambling casino, but a ballroom and a movie theater and a museum. The casino is the most distinctive landmark on the entire bay. This one was built in 1929, and the movie theater inside was the first to be designed for talkie movies. The ballroom upstairs is gorgeous and has a great view of the bay. You can take a behind-the-scenes tour of the casino, and you can see the projector room for the theater and the dressing rooms for the stage and learn to dance on the ballroom floor. It's really cool if you can do it. Next picture on our reel, the pleasure pier from the beach. Finding this view of the pleasure pier from the beach was super easy because all we had to do was turn 90 degrees from where we were and walk forward a little bit, and you get the view of the pier from the beach, and it hasn't changed since 1948. The restaurants on the pier seem unchanged, and it looks like the fish and chip shop still has the same sign even. The locals call it the Green Pleasure Pier due to its distinctive color. If we find the pleasure pier on the old brochure map, you can still see some of the excursions you could have taken from the pier, to the undersea gardens or even the famous flying fish. These are all things you can still do today. This brings us to the next picture, the glass-bottom boat at Avalon. They still do glass-bottom boat rides in Avalon, and we even took a glass-bottom boat ride tour that day from the pleasure pier out around the bay and got great views of schools of fish and all kinds of neat stuff underwater, just like they would have done when the Viewmaster pictures were taken. Next picture on the reel is the Yacht Club at Avalon. Our modern view of this matched really well. This view's pretty much unchanged. To get this angle, we had to climb the stairs at the end of Crescent Avenue, and from there, the view is exactly the same. It's a great view of the club and the casino in the background. The Yacht Club was built in 1924 on the site of a prior club that burned down in the Great Fire of 1915, and the club's operated continuously ever since. Last picture on the reel is tropical penguins at the bird park. This one's interesting. Penguins on Catalina? Not today, but we did find the site of the old bird park. This park opened in 1929 and was the largest bird park in the world, and it closed in the mid-60s. Back in our hotel on the wall, we found another postcard, this time of the bird park, probably from the early 50s. And if we go back and take a look at the brochure map, way back in the valley, you can see the bird park still marked as an attraction. The park was famous for this large aviary that held all the birds. Here's that aviary today. It's now used by a school as a playground. I found this book of old Catalina postcards in the local museum, and you can see one of a steamer leaving the bay, and it's going around Sugarloaf Rock. If you look behind the rock, you can see the original casino dance hall, the one that was there before the one that's there now. This original structure was moved when the current larger casino was built and Sugarloaf Rock was dynamited. This steel structure became the aviary of the bird park. All these other buildings are still there. If you drive out on Avalon Canyon Road to Bird Park Drive, there's lots of interesting details to see, including some wonderful tile work if you stop here to take a look. That's it for this episode of Viewmaster Travels. That's all 7 pictures from the reel. If you have any comments, please leave them below. Thanks for watching and see you next time.